Before I start this video, I'm going to give a quick mention to a reply I got on my last video. Kozo S says Stevie playing username pronunciation roulette made a great response in which he had a look at some YouTube statistics as to the gender ratios that use the site, what other channels people subscribe to as well as vlogs, and considered these in the differences found in the demographics of vloggers. It's some really interesting stuff. I definitely recommend going and having a look. Now for today's video, let's start with the line that had every viewer from north of the search bar to south of the comments section up in arms.
Makeup gurus aside, females struggle to make it big on YouTube. Makeup gurus aside, makeup gurus aside.
Okay, so as a lot of people have pointed out, Ben's dismissal of makeup gurus in half a blasé sentence is probably the point in his video at which he is most overtly sexist. But it's a community-wide sexism. An argument I've often tried to make. In fact, you can see me pleading it an entire year ago with regards to romance fiction in a video here, is that feminism is not simply the liberation of women in allowing them to take part in superior masculine activities and traits. That might have been an early stage in the battle for gender equality, but now hopefully we are moving beyond that. Moving to a place where previously gendered traits are no longer considered tied to any biological sex, or lumped together as belonging to a particular gender. Ben's dismissal of beauty channels, and society's dismissal of beauty channels, is a more specific example of the dismissal as lesser of the feminine as a whole. Let me ask you, how are channels dedicated to makeup or fashion any different to those dedicated to music or drawing? They're all creative, artistic channels, even if one deals with the manipulation of sound, another with marks on paper, and these beauty channels with the adornment and decoration of the body. Beauty is forced to tread a thin line. It's not allowed to be seen as simply the peacocking of heterosexual females pandering to male domination. And yet it must also avoid the inwardly looking, and might I add almost exclusively reserved for criticism of the feminine, accusations of vanity and frivolity. The problem is, this is still widely considered to be an entirely female realm. Men are derided for even going near it, and that in itself implies it is a lesser occupation. Something silly women can indulge in, but something that is below men. Something that is of no interest beyond the female sphere. It is part of the wider dismissal of all those traits and interests and hobbies that have been considered stereotypically feminine. And this has a huge impact on women's position in YouTube and beyond. The results of feminine dismissal are illustrated perfectly in a comment that was left on my last video by the amazing Sarah Jane, otherwise known as Mother Effing Books, possibly the best username that has ever graced this fair website. She gave a great example of it, which is the perceived universality of maleness. The idea that men's stories and experiences are relatable to people of all genders, but women's stories and experiences are only relatable to other women. The thing is, in dismissing makeup gurus, Ben has not only continued the tradition of dismissing the feminine as lesser, he's actually missed a really important indicator in the problem of female YouTubers. Here there are clear examples of women creating videos, being watched, and achieving large amounts of subscribers. Why specifically in this genre? Now, we're considering beauty, we've fixed the content of these videos, but we can still consider our first two questions in regards to their performance. Do women create more videos in this genre? And is the reaction of viewers to this genre particularly different to any other? Let's start with making videos. Now, I don't have any statistics to tell me whether women do create more beauty videos than, say, vlogs or any of the other mainstream videos that Ben Cook deems worthy of his consideration. But I can say that is the attitude of a lot of YouTube. Whether that's found in Becoming YouTube's declaration that almost all of the popular female YouTubers belong to the beauty communities, or the fact that when I was attending the YouTube Creators Academy back in September, many of the people involved in it were really surprised that of all the female YouTubers present, none of us dealt predominantly in makeup. Women are definitely considered to be more vocal on these topics than others. What I do have statistics to prove is that in this specific community, when considering video makers, the ratio of women to men is much higher. It's actually a similar state, although of course on a much smaller scale, to that found within my own lovingly lexical booktube. Although of course the act of reading has never been gendered to the same extent of makeup and fashion, Current trends in YA, again, led or reflected, who can say? I definitely need to consider gender and reading in another video. But there is a female skew in the young adult community, which incidentally is a similar community to the YouTube watching, partaking in community. Regardless, in these specific communities, a lot of women can be seen to be creating videos. It can be argued that women have received popularity as makeup gurus simply because women are making videos as makeup gurus. The question we must then ask, for the sake of women's position in the wider whole of YouTube, is if women are making more videos in these specific genres, why? There are various models that can be put forwards to suggest possible psychology behind it. It could be that there is added confidence in women making these videos, because it is a feminine subject and they are speaking from an area of female expertise. It could be a topic upon which women feel less likely to be criticised in comparison to male creators. I would also argue that more women could be making videos here because these communities are more inclusive. Now that just sounds like I'm lavering compliments upon my own community and insulting others, but hear me out. Both the makeup communities and the book communities, which admittedly have taken much influence from the former, really do encourage viewers to get involved. They include lots of tags and easily replicable formulas such as hauls. They're videos that newer, younger people who wish to start out for themselves can get involved in, that encourage communication between channels, and that guarantee a few views beyond those simply of your doting grandmother. There is an encouragement to join in, to give your own answers to each question and your own reviews of each product. It's less of a speech and more of a conversation. Ultimately, although I do take both of these points into consideration and do feel both would impact to a certain extent, beyond them all, what I will argue, the reason why I feel more women might be able to create videos in these genres rather than others is because of the way videos in a female-dominated space can be justified. This builds into the perception I talked about in my last video, of women not being able to seek large male audiences, and women who do being bad women. These videos do not simply involve putting yourself out there, seeking attention and being dangerous. These videos have a specific purpose, rather than just talking about yourself or exhibiting your life, as vlogging could be thought of. They are fulfilling specific aims and needs. There is also the fact that these genres can be specifically considered women's though. The feminine stereotype of these activities has confined them to the female sphere, and women making these videos can expect to be watched by other women. In fact, women watching these videos will expect that these videos were made for their purpose. Thus these communities become female spaces, and due to expectations and perceptions, the rules are different. That which I previously proposed might be a barrier to women making videos or other women appreciating women's videos doesn't apply in a female space. Beauty in treading its thin line has championed the idea of female empowerment. BookTube grounds itself in the academic/musty library. As such, both have distanced themselves from the sexual. Women can create videos here with less fear of being sexualized and thus betraying their gender. This is partially because they are videos about specific topics, rather than just about themselves, but also because they are videos intended for predominantly female audiences. The other aspect of female spaces you've seen me touch upon is the perception of women who make videos in them. A reason why women have specifically managed to garner great amounts of subscribers in the field of beauty, rather than other genres, may have to do with the way that the audience reacts to those kinds of videos. That is, videos situated in female spaces. As I said, because of the way fashion and makeup have been pigeonholed in our society, anyone watching a video on those topics will know that video has been created for female viewers. This can change the relationship between creator and viewer. Now, it's a stereotype that's really overused. Catty, bitchy women attacking one another and thus limiting the potential of their own gender. But female competition and female jealousy do exist. Theoretically, this will be lesser when considering the confines of a female space, as opposed to the competitiveness that arguably women are subconsciously taught to enact within a mixed gender, predominantly heterosexual space. If this is the case, then women may view other women more sympathetically when their videos focus on feminine topics. Put into convent-like spaces, where women have different priorities and thus different relationships with one another. In that way, such videos should prove more popular with female viewers. Another argument as to why these videos might have proved more popular is the style of them, which, as I argued earlier, was more inclusive. thus would present the women in them as more relatable. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that women can only idolise men. Throughout history you can see examples of special women who transcended their genders and often took part in masculine activities. Arguments, however, can be made that female viewers wish to identify upon gender lines, and thus are more likely to watch female YouTubers who seem like them. This means that the everyone take part aspect of tag culture might lead to a better reception among viewers. Female viewers might prefer to watch female YouTubers who make videos like they do, or could, or would. So in the end, when considering makeup gurus, it is obvious that women have done well in this genre for numerous reasons. But I believe most chiefly among them is the awareness from both content creators and viewers that they are moving in predominantly female spaces. This can encourage more women to make videos as they're not having to avoid attracting a dangerous and bad male audience. And it can make women watching these videos consider them in a similarly different light. What do you think, guys? Do you watch beauty videos? Do you think the atmosphere surrounding them is different to, say, that surrounding vlogs? Do you think female spaces might have encouraged more people to make videos, or changed the view of videos found there within? Let me know in the comments, I'll be really interested to hear your opinions. Other than that, I have one final video for you on gender. It's going to be looking at performative aspects of gender, how they might manifest on YouTube, as well as those women who have made it big on YouTube. Are their videos particularly different? That's all I have for now. It's your turn to tell me what you think. Bye guys.